Xander was good. All my focus in the house. Anarchy TV was crack-a-lacking. I gotta give me one of those cool masks like you got. Anarchy TV. Yeah, I don't show my face on the internet. You know, facial recognition. Yeah, I feel you. Well, I feel you, man. I think I'm gonna do a little different today. I'm gonna just do the path up. Yeah, I understand that about the facial recognition, but you know, it is what it is for me, you know. I salute Seeds of Dark Matter. It's very educational. Thanks, man. Thought-provoking. It looks sunny there. We got rain for the next 3 days, and it's been rainy for 2. Yeah. We didn't have much of a winter this year in SoCal. And they didn't even spray as much as they normally do around this time of year. So, you know, it's just a natural, I think it's natural. I think it's just natural, you know? If I'm gonna be doing a show, I gotta walk faster. But yeah, it's kind of windy out here. That's one thing about SoCal, yo. It'll be sunny here and not so much everywhere else during certain points of the year. Oh, thanks, man. Have you, so, old head Deuce copped my book, The Seeds of Dark Matter Disease, which is now out on Amazon. You get a digital copy for like $5, or you can get the hardcover. You can get the hard copy. It's not a hardcover though. For, I think it's on sale right now for almost $12. So if y'all support the channel, you guys can cop it's a very good book. Good story. A lot of good information in there. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to make it entertaining and educational at the same time, like old head Deuce just said. Old head Deuce, did you finish the book? Did you happen to complete the whole thing? So let me see who's in here. We got Anarchy TV, Xander, Black Spring Autumn is in the house. How's everybody doing? Black Spring in the house. Just started last night. Okay. Huh? Black Spring, I think you accidentally deleted Anarchy Television channel. Not channel, but comment. Anarchy TV? That was an accident. Shit happens sometimes. Yeah. So, yeah, as y'all can pick up the Seeds of Dark Matter Disease on Amazon right now. Part 2 is in the works. I'm about halfway finished with the story, with writing the book. Man, a little less than halfway. It depends on where it takes me. Because, you know, I don't use an outline or anything like that. I just write, and, you know, situations and circumstances within the book come naturally and organically like they do in real life. And I have a general idea of where the story is going, but no outline. So something might happen in a sequence that completely alters the path I thought the characters were going to go on. That's what happened in the first book. So, in the first book, what ends up becoming a major plot point wasn't even supposed to be happening at all, you know? And, you know, you'll get to that point where the main character encounters a situation that he has to make a decision on how he's going to handle it. And that wasn't even supposed to happen, you know? But he ran into a situation and he had to make a decision. So based on that decision, the story went a certain way. So, you know, that's what happens in real life. You make plans, God laughs, right? See what y'all talking about. Yeah, I know it was a mistake. Black Spring. I'm sure Anarchy TV knows too. For Black Righteous Folks says, peace, bro. Hi, everyone in chat room. Please hit that like button. Yes, thank you, please. Okay. So, we have doctors telling us, epidemiologists and virologists telling us that the Modelo19 is going to become an endemic part of human society, like the flu and the cold. You know what I'm saying? So, who's surprised by that? Who's surprised by that? I'm not. You know, I knew they wanted to make it a permanent thing because everything they have in place to stop the spread of Modelo19, they want to make permanent as well. And, you know, though a lot of people are resisting the change, too many are accepting the changes. So they see it as a way to increase, their controls. So of course, they're gonna say, Modelo19 is gonna be with us forever. And so we must take certain precautions and measures to ensure we don't have any more outbreaks, okay? What are those measures? Face flags, social distancing, shutdowns, lockdowns, business closures, all the fun things we love so much about 2020. Everything we love about 2020, they want to make that a permanent thing. So be prepared for that. Yeah. No worries. So look, I've been going around different live chats, and YouTube has been deleting my comments. I know it's because it wasn't any mod that did it. Them brother breathing heavy today. If you'd like to support the channel, yes, please. Yeah, it's windy, and I always my struggle lap is always the first lap. My first lap is always the more challenging for me, because basically I'm warming up. So yeah, it's windy. So the wind, so my breath isn't really coming in and out like it should. And it's my first lap. My first lap is always like that. And I don't usually do the path the first time. So this is what I do. If I do the stairs, there are 2 different landings before, well, 3. Well, 2 different landings on my way up. I always stop and catch my breath just a little bit at each landing. But when I do the path, I go straight through without stopping. So, it just depends on what I'm doing. Like I said, the first lap is always a struggle lap. And, I came all the way up without a break this time. But I'm going to do the stairs next. And I'm going to, I take small little respites between landings. So, yeah, it's no big deal. Some days going to be worse than others. On Friday, I did some wind sprints, so that's what I did on Friday. And I'm thinking about getting one of those little tripods for your phones that can track your movement so that you guys can see what kind of work I put in when I go to the track. So what I do is I'll jump rope for about a minute. Then I'll do a sprint, 40 yards out and 40 yards back. Then I'll do like 10 push-ups, rest for 30 seconds, and do another minute with the jump rope. Except I'll go up. I had 4 weighted jump ropes. So I had the quarter pound, half pound rope, 1 pound rope, and a 2 pound rope. So I basically did a pyramid. My first jump rope session was with the quarter pound. Then I did the 80 yard lap, and then I did some push-ups, a variation of push-ups. Then I did the jump rope with the half pound rope for another minute. Boom. Ran another 80-yard lap. Did another variation of a push-up, and so forth and so on, all the way up to a 2 pound rope. And it had been months since I did that routine. I hadn't done it since the end of summer because they locked down the track, right? They locked down the track because of Modelo19, And it's still closed down because of Modelo19. And I was like, you know what? Let me go over there and see what they're doing. I go over there to the track and I see people up in there. I see people in there running, walking. I'm like, how the fuck? And a big old sign on the gate saying, track is closed due to Modelo19. And I'm like, well, they got in here somehow. And one of the dudes that like managed the track, I saw him open the gate with a key. Right? He opened the padlock, went in and closed the padlock. I said, okay. And he's not saying anything to these people. I'm like, what the hell? He's saying nothing to them. I was like, all right. So I said, I'm not going to get in through that gate because he locked it. Well, there's a hole in the gate. Like if you go around the corner, there's a little hole right there. You can get in easily. So I went in there, I did my thing. So that was good. But the thing about that is I hadn't ran, especially a sprint. I haven't sprinted in like, I say since August, September. And yeah, it tore my foot up. Like my foot was really sore the last few days. So, you know, my foot has to get used to sprinting again. So that's why it's important to have well-rounded exercise team or something balanced, because, you know, while rucking is a good form of cardio, it's different than running. So it works different muscles. It impacts your feet differently. You know what I'm saying? You know. People broke into 24-hour fitness and started working out. That's funny. That's hilarious. But yeah. So, and I'm like, man, I need to get back to my sprinting again, because if I have to run in real life, I want to be able to do that too. You know what I'm saying? If I have to sprint in real life, you know, in case some shit happened, there was some type of danger or something, and I need to sprint, I need to be able to be on point. I need to be able to go balls to the wall for at least a quarter mile. So, you know, you do what you got to do. So I'll be getting back to my sprinting again. All right. For Black Righteous Folks says, keep pushing through, I will. Somebody broke into 24. That's crazy. I really need to stop smoking tobacco so I can get back into my exercises and breathe right. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Yeah, it's very important, man. You know, very important. Smoking is something else. You know, so anyway, are you guys surprised that Modelo19 will now become an endemic disease like the flu and the cold? So, you know, you guys better run out and get your hokey pokeys. You know what I'm saying? Get your hokey pokeys so that you're protected from this endemic disease. So that, you know, and look at Modelo19, it doesn't even have a season. It's a year-round disease. It did not stop during the summer like people thought it would. So this thing is a lot more, you know, persistent, a lot more present than the flu and the cold. Let them tell it, right? And I question, how could that be? You know? How could it be that it doesn't have a season? How could it be that we don't get a break from it during the summer and the spring? How does something that allegedly only used to infect bats cross over to humans and become such an efficient weapon? What's up, Anarchy? Chelsea doesn't exist says we have a close sign on our track. Our neighborhood is destroyed enough of the signs now, so no more close signs. Yeah, that's what's up. Smoking tobacco is harder than kick than heroin. Yeah, no shit. I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke tobacco. I started when I was 16, and I quit cold turkey when I was 27. Cold turkey. So I smoked for 10 years and stopped. Yes, Alien Believer says no, never surrender, people. Real shit. Anarchy TV says after my aunt went to the hospital 2 days from getting the hokey pokey. She is now determined not to get the second dose. But I tried to convince her not to even get the first one. You know, people gonna do what they want to do. You know, sometimes people have to learn on their own, you know. You can only tell people so much. And then they have to make their own decisions and live with them. Like my mother, she got both hokey pokies. And, you know, after the first one, she was all right. She had a fever. She had a fever, felt sick for like a day. Had the second hokey pokey. According to her, she's A-okay. You know? But God knows what the long-term effects are going to be. That's what I'm more concerned about. I'm not even so much concerned about what short-term effects may come or even deaths, right? Because let's face it, compared to the number of people getting the hokey pokey, there's going to be a very small number of deaths, right? And that's what they hit you with. But here's the problem. It's not just the deaths you should be worried about. It's also what debilitating factors long-term may come from this chemical hokey pokey, right? It's not just about the deaths. It's not just about Bell's palsy. It's not just about that. It's about what can that thing do to you 1 year from now after getting the second dose, 2 years, and they're saying you got to get 2 shots a year. You're going to have to get 2 shots every single year. It's not something that's permanent. So as you keep getting this thing year after year after year, what can the long-term effects be, right? They don't know yet because according to them, it's only been in development for 9 months before they started administering it to people. So they have no idea, according to them. But I'll tell you what, an alarming, to me, number of people are dying from, but I'll not say from. An alarming number of people are dying after being administered the Modelo19 hokey pokey. So, you know. And then, if you look at the articles, they'll say, oh, well, this individual died from natural causes, but there's no link to the hokey pokey because they didn't die from anaphylactic shock, right? You know what anaphylactic shock is? It's basically an allergic reaction where your airways close up, right? Your esophagus, your airways down your lungs, they swell up and close up. And you know, people, they die from not being able to breathe. So they're saying because that particular thing didn't happen, it's not linked to Modelo19. But how do we know that's the only thing it can do? Well, we know that's not the only thing that happens after you get the Modelo19, right? What else has happened? Well, there was a Florida doctor who died 2 weeks after getting Modelo19, and not from anaphylactic shock. He died from, I forgot what they call it, but basically it has to do with your platelets, your blood platelets. Your blood platelets are what's responsible for coagulation in the blood, right? So that you're not bleeding all over the place. So that, like if you get a cut, you're not just bleeding profusely out of the cut, or you know, if you get a contusion inside your body, or organ or something like that. Let's say you're boxing, right? And someone gets you with a good liver shot, right? Somebody gets you with a good liver shot. Your liver can bleed internally, right? But the platelets will come and stop the bleeding, right? It'll coagulate the blood. Well, if you don't have those, then your liver's gonna leak all over the place. You're gonna have internal bleeding until the point that you die because you have zero platelets. Well, this has happened to multiple people that have gotten the Modelo19 hokey pokey, but they're not saying, you know, that people aren't dying from the lack of platelets in their blood. They're saying, oh, it wasn't anaphylactic shock. So they want you to think, when you think hokey pokey deaths, they want you to associate that with anaphylactic shock. They don't want you to associate it with the lack of platelets in your blood. You understand what I'm saying? So that's one thing to look at. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, COVID, oh shoot, I said the word. Modelo19 definitely failed, right? That's why they had to keep it going. It didn't do what they thought it was going to do last year. So, you know, still too many people wanting freedom. Still too many people. See, what they didn't expect was 8 million NICS background checks for firearms in a span of a few months. They weren't expecting that. They were expecting people to cower in their homes and wait for the government to tell them what to do. They weren't expecting people to go out. Huge failure on their part with that. Energy TV says Chelsea don't get it. Mana has never had a panic attack. Mana has never had a panic attack until 2 days after she got the hokey pokey. She had been taken to the hospital because of it, and the doctors don't know what caused it. Of course they don't know what caused it, right? They won't know what caused it. When it comes to the hokey pokey, you get the hokey pokey, you turn yourself around, and you fall to the ground. You know, oh, well, what a mystery. Oh, nobody can associate that with the hokey pokey. You just had a mysterious panic attack that you never had in your life. You're a healthy doctor who's probably got so much blood work done throughout his career. Oh, but you get the hokey pokey and your platelets turn around and they won't ever come back out. And you drop dead. Oh, I wonder how that happened. Oh, what a mystery. right? Come on, man, what a joke. Come on, what a joke. The only way you can die from the hokey pokey is if you have anaphylactic shock. That is the only way. Nothing else. Fuck out of here, man. I'm so tired of these people. Tired of these liars. Tired of these controllers. You know what I'm tired of more than that? The sheeple. The sheeple that go along to get along and allow these people to continue to pull the bullshit. You know, I'm tired of that more so than I am of the controllers themselves. It's bullshit. All right, anarchy. Peace out. Control and obedience. Exactly. But see, that's what people don't understand. You know, you see how we have to tiptoe around what we say and how we say it on these so-called platforms with all these community guidelines, right? All these community guidelines telling you what you can and can't say based on their ideology, based on their belief system, right? Let me tell you, the only guideline that you should really have in a platform is not to, you know, not to commit a crime in a video, you know. Don't post a crime, you know what I'm saying? Or don't threaten people. Don't threaten people's lives. Don't threaten harm to people. You know what I'm saying? Everything else should be fair game, right? You know, you don't want to see people get snuffed out on YouTube, right? Some people do. But that I can see that being a guideline, okay? But at the same time, is that something you want to hide? Because if someone posts that, then they're going to have some type of electronic trail that leads to them. So the dilemma is, you know, do you want people to expose their crimes on YouTube so it's easier for them to get caught? Or do you not want that to be seen? There should be no, if you're a platform, you're protected from lawsuits that might stem from what a creator, an independent creator, posts on your platform. You're free of any liability of that, right? So why have all these guidelines? It's not necessary, right? Well, they have them because they want to control the narrative. They don't want people to get the truth in they don't want people to have an abundance of information from which to draw, right? They want a one source information dispenser, right? Or from multiple sources that dispense information in the same form and fashion and in the same way. So they want the authorities to say whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? Right? So it's just a big joke. The fact that I had to sit up here and say Modelo19, hokey pokey, right? The fact that I have to say that shit just so they won't fuck with my live stream is completely ridiculous. You feel me? No way that should be happening. There's no way. Not on the platform. You know? Not on the platform. Kimon Reed, Unstoppable, says, hokey pokey vaccine. Yeah. I gotta use code words. I don't say anything I wouldn't say to one's face. That being said, I have fewer beats. Yeah, me too. Me too. So, you know, so y'all just be ready for the permanent Modelo, okay? Modelo is gonna be around. Whether it is or not, whether it's around or not, it's gonna be around because they said it's gonna be around, right? They said it's gonna become an endemic disease, right? Well, because they said that, it is. It is gonna become an endemic disease. Never mind the fact that in their own report, they said a positive PCR test cannot rule out another type of infection. It cannot rule out a bacterial infection or another infection that has nothing to do with Modelo19. And they also said a positive, test result does not mean necessarily that Modelo19 was the cause of the illness. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what they said in the CDC report. I posted that in one of my videos. I forgot which one. I still have access to that link. You know what I'm saying? So, the information is there, right? The information is there. But if you post that information in the way that they said it in their little report, your shit's getting taken down. You'll get a community guideline strike. Even though you said exactly what the CDC said about the Modelo19. Just like with the face flags. They say 71% of the people hospitalized for Modelo19 always wore a mask. Whereas 4% of those hospitalized for Modelo19 never wore a mask. That's what the Food and Drug Administration said. Or no, that's what the CDC said. The CDC report says that as well. And I also have a link to that from the CDC. But the CDC, that's where we're supposed to get our information from. That's what we're supposed to use as an authoritative source, right? But if I were to say that in the exact words that they said it, not saying Modelo19, not saying hokey pokey, using the real word for it, not saying face flag, but using the M word, my shit will be taken down. You understand what I'm saying? In Anarchy Television, I know you got a community guideline strike. It's probably because you didn't use code words. And that's what I had to tell Jay with open eyes, right? Jay Slick Twisted, the young man that does the geometry stuff. I said you have to use code words. If you don't want to get flagged on YouTube, you have to use code words. I know it's funny, hokey pokey, right? That's a good little word for it. I coined that. You know what I'm saying? It's funny and it's amusing, but I mean that you have to get as far away from the real word as possible, right? So like the J word, right? Well, that's the word they use in Great Britain for the hokey pokeys, the J word, jab. So even if you use jab, the algorithm might catch that. They might catch jab. And if you're saying anything adversely against the hokey pokey and you use the words that are known, like the V word, the J word, even words like inoculation or, whatever word you can use, right? The algorithm might pick that up and it might strike you. So you have to be real careful. You got to use code words. I know it's frustrating, but it's either I'm stubborn and I use the words anyway and I keep getting flagged, get my videos taken down, or I go ahead and use the code words. People get a good laugh out of it. You know what I'm saying? And I can still put the information out. I can still spread the message of freedom. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to sacrifice. It's just like, and this is the thing about anarchy and voluntarism, right? This is the thing. Just because I want full-fledged freedom doesn't mean I'm not going to use the system when I have to, right? Like, oh, you hate censorship so much. You hate the system. You hate this, you hate that. Oh, you don't believe in fiat currency. You still got a job. You still use money. Oh, look at you. You're on YouTube. You use Facebook. You're using the system you're complaining about. Well, yeah. You know, what else am I supposed to do? I know what's necessary, right? I still have to participate in society to a degree until we reach a level of freedom where it's no longer necessary. Until then, I'm gonna use it, right? I'm gonna use Facebook. I'm gonna use YouTube. I'm gonna still make money, you know? But while I'm doing that, I can also, with that money, purchase real resources. I can get gold. I can buy silver. I can buy land. I can set myself up using that fiat currency. I can set myself up using that fiat currency until the point where I really no longer need it. Until then, I'm going to use the fiat currency. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna still work and make my money, even though they're extorting me, right? Even though they extort my paycheck, I'ma still go to work and collect my extorted paycheck until I no longer need to, right? Even if I own and operate a business, which I do, right? What my wife does. She has a candle business. Even though my wife's an entrepreneur, right? My wife's an entrepreneur, but she still has to work, right? And this thing I don't get about people who don't have actual 9-to-5 jobs, how they shit on people with 9-to-5 jobs, so-called business people. They'll shit on a worker. But guess what? Unless you're so well established in your business that you can go off and play golf, go to Tahiti for a month at a time, you know, travel the world, chill at home, and still get money, you still work, right? Most entrepreneurs don't have it like that. Most entrepreneurs that are still building their businesses, they have to work longer than a cat working a 9-to-5. Longer, right? They have to work 8 to 16 hours a day, right? Just to break even. If they want to break even, until they get to the point where their shit is taking off, until they get to the point where they're so mainstream that their business is just skyrocketing, guess what? They have to work. And guess what? You still have to please the customer. So if you work in a business where you're providing goods and services, right, which is what most businesses are, unless you're like in the stock market and you're making your money in a stock market and all the money you earn comes from dividends in the stock market, you still have to work to please somebody, whether that's your boss or your customer. You know what I'm saying? You still have to please these people. You still have somebody that you have to satisfy at the end of the day. You know? So, to me, and let's not even get into liability, right? If I'm working for someone that owns their own business, I don't have to worry about lawsuits. I don't have to worry about hiring lawyers and shit like that. I don't have to worry about recalls and defective products. It ain't on me. I clock out and at 5 o'clock. I get to leave work and not think about work until I go back to work the next day. So, owning your own business is a lot more work than working for somebody. Ask anybody that has owned their own business. Shit ain't no joke. Shit ain't no joke. Matter of fact, my wife had a special order of candles for candles yesterday. She started working, I want to say 1 or 2 o'clock. She started working at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She didn't get done until midnight making those orders. You know what I'm saying? So, because when people place an order, you have to ship them to them. And you want people to get their orders in a timely fashion. Let's see. Putin's cat says, is this working class hero rant? No. I don't know how I got on this subject, but I think I was talking about, you know, how people want freedom. They call them hypocrites because they're still participating in the system, and, you know, I ain't going back to that. Business should be intertwined with culture. Capitalism ruins that. You think so, old head? I don't know. I think capitalism is very important. Look, the free market will always prevail, you know? So, the more you regulate, the bigger the free market becomes. The free market or the black market. And this is a point of contention between me and ABL, right? In terms of, you know, whether drugs should be legal or not. You know, he thinks that legalizing marijuana is a bad thing, right? He thinks legalizing any drug is bad, but he can't really explain how making drugs illegal is stopping people from using drugs. You know, he even said once, and this kind of blew my mind a little bit. I was kind of confused by the statement. He said, if you want a crack house on every block, or if you want a crack house up the street from your house, then go ahead and legalize drugs. But I'm like, wait a minute. Crack houses or drug dens exist because drugs are legal. You don't have crack houses in residential neighborhoods if drugs are legal. It's not needed, right? If you legalize drugs, you won't need a crack house. You understand what I'm saying? Exist right now while drugs are illegal. So it didn't make sense to me, you know? But if you legalize drugs, then all the danger that comes along with drug use outside of the drug use itself, well, a lot of the danger will go away, right? Because when you associate danger with the drug world, it's because you got drug dealers, right? You got drug dealers providing the drugs for the drug addicts, right? But because it's illegal, they have to operate in a certain way. They have to hide, they have to be sneaky. They have to hide what they're doing, right? And so when they start getting investigated by the law, they do desperate things, right? Like kill people that might be snitching on them, or they'll have drug wars, drug turf wars with other drug dealers. These things happen because drugs are illegal. You understand what I'm saying? And what about the quality of the drugs? Well, you have to step on the quality of the drugs because drugs are illegal. Why? Because you can only get so much into the country at a time, right? You have to sneak it in, you gotta smuggle it in, you gotta go through all this shit. So by the time you get the drugs, you know, you're paying a shitload amount of money for the wholesale of these drugs. And then guess what? You have to turn a profit. So what do? You step on the drugs. You cut it with chemicals that make that drug a lot more dangerous than it would be otherwise. You know what I'm saying? But if you do drugs, you get rid of all that bullshit, you get rid of all the red tape, you get rid of all the dangers of getting caught selling the drug. So that relieves a lot of stress, right, in the industry. That relieves a lot of stress in that industry. So people, it's not as dangerous. You understand what I'm saying? Those drug dealers can be confident in the fact, well, now I can perform a mutually consensual transaction with someone who wants the drugs, and I can give them quality drugs, right? And not draw attention to my product in a negative way. You understand what I'm saying? I know it sounds crazy, right? I'm making a case for legalizing drugs. Yes, I am. Why though? Why am I doing it? Not because I'm a drug dealer, number one, and not because I do drugs, number two. It's because even because like the black market is always going to provide, right? As long as there is demand and supply, there's going to be somebody to meet those demands, right? As long as there's supply of drugs, there's always going to be people that demand the drugs, even if whether it's legal or not. And there's always going to be somebody who wants to supply those people with those drugs. That's just what it is, legal or not. You're not going to stop drug use. It's not going to happen. You know, it's not going to happen. So this idea that legalizing drugs is going to create, you know, a world full of crackheads is completely asinine, because if you want to do drugs, you're going to do drugs. If you don't want to do drugs, you're not going to do drugs. As simple as that. You know, legalization or illegalization is not going to stop most people. Well, let's say you can have the most law-abiding citizen in the world, right? Even the most law-abiding citizen in the world, if they really want drugs, they're going to go get them. And they're going to break that law. Right? The biggest criminal in the world, right? The biggest criminal in the world If they don't want to do drugs, they're not going to do drugs. It's as simple as that. The biggest criminal, a stone cold killer, right? A stone cold murderer, a stone cold drug dealer is not going to do drugs if they don't want to do drugs. Like, it's really like, that's how, it's really that simple. Legal, not legal, it doesn't matter. All legalization, illegalization of drugs does is create more danger, right? It creates more danger, which means more profit for the government. More profit, more police organizations with which, from to draw. That's more extortion money, right? You got the DEA. Imagine if you legalize drugs across the nation, you won't need the DEA anymore. The DEA will no longer be needed, right? So what's that going to do? How much money is that going to free up for the taxpayer? Money that can go toward, say, rehabilitation, or to programs for people who are addicted to hardcore drugs that want to stop being addicted to hardcore drugs. Guess what also you can do? If you legalize drugs, you can defund the police even further. So that means all these drug task force, all these, narcotic departments in the police departments, all the narcotic divisions won't no longer be needed. They will no longer be needed. And that's more money freed up. And guess what? All that money that's freed up can go back to the taxpayer. You know what I'm saying? Or like I said, programs, right? That go, if people want to stop being on drugs, you can hire people that can help people get off drugs, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But see, they know that. They don't want the DEA to go away. They don't want, you know what I'm saying? Like, so the most they'll do, right? The federal government is they'll decriminalize marijuana. All right? Okay, they'll decriminalize marijuana, the least hardcore drug in the world, right? It's less hardcore than alcohol, right? It's less dangerous and hardcore than alcohol. So they're going to legalize marijuana on a federal level, but you're still going to have all these other illegal drugs that are still going to make the DEA and all these other agencies more. It's still going to make them necessary and relevant, and you're still going to have taxpayer money going toward that shit. You're still going to have hardcore drugs on the streets. They're going to be stepped on by drug dealers. You're still going to have dangerous drug dealers. You're still going to have smugglers. You're still going to have the drug cartels south of the border. If you want to stop a drug cartel, legalize drugs. You know what they become? They become big pharma. You understand what I'm saying? Those cartels will become big pharma, and there won't be a need to behead so many people. You understand what I'm saying? Because, okay, well, I'm no longer concerned. Probably still going to have turf wars and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I just think it's bullshit. You want to eliminate the danger of drugs, all the dangers surrounding it. I'm not talking about the use of drugs. I'm talking about all the dangers surrounding the drug war, right? The war on drugs. Just end the war on drugs. Legalize every drug. But no, you can't do that according to ABL because you're going to have a crack den on every corner. Fuck out of here. All right. That was my long rant about drugs. Anarchy TV says, yeah, since I started working for myself, trying to get the micro business up in small business status is like, it's a whole lot of work. My advice is get ready. Things are changing, and them hiding the heavens just proves how much they are liars here in Canada. Legal and things are better, not worse. Oh, you talking about marijuana? I think Anarchy TV says I think marijuana should be normalized, not legalized. Normalization is like growing it like parsley in your yard, legalization means it's regulated. You know, yeah. You don't want regulation, right? You really don't want regulation. I agree. But if you're smart, and listen, if you as a government really cared about people being on drugs and that's why you made them illegal, then you would, this is speaking as a government official, right? A high-ranking government official. I'd be like, let's legalize the drugs, regulate the shit out of them, tax the shit out of them, and we'll make even more money than if we continue this war on drugs. And it'll be less dangerous, there'll be less death, and all the other shit. But no, they don't want to do that because they like the danger. It's about control. They care more about control than the money that they would get from the taxes of the drugs. You understand what I'm saying? If they really care. Integrity TV says, if I was able to grow MJ about government intervention, I would turn my property into a farm. Yeah, real shit. Big Pharma is nothing but legalized drug dealers, and they have no interest in natural causes. No, they don't. And let me tell you something. Big Pharma don't like competition. Big Pharma don't like competition. You understand? There are more drugs that Big Pharma pushes that are dangerous than heroin and crack. You understand what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they use heroin or poppy to create this opioid crisis. They create the opioid crisis. The opioid crisis is thanks to the government. And not because Pookie up the street. See, y'all have to understand. So many people hate Pookie up the street. Pookie up the street is just he's a minion, all right? You're wasting your energy on Pookie up the street because there will always be a little Pookie up the street. If Pookie up the street gets locked up, baby Pookie up the street is going to take his place. No, they're wasting energy on the wrong criminals. You understand? Yes, they are also criminals. And they're pushing those hardcore drugs that are stepped on and chemicalized. So that's when you commit a crime. When you sell people contaminated drugs. You see what I'm saying? But those contaminated drugs are only there because of the illegalization. What happened? Let's look at the timeline real quick. Not a long timeline, just a real short timeline from the 70s to the 80s. What happened in the 70s with Nixon? Nixon, right, declared a war on drugs. What happened not so long later in the 1980s? Crack came online. Why did crack come? Well, because cocaine, because the war on drugs, was becoming a lot harder and dangerous to distribute wholesale. So by the time they got it, it was already stepped on. And I'm talking about Nino Brown. If y'all know who Nino Brown is, watch New Jack City. All right. See, New Jack City talks about how what happened when crack came online in New York City, but it didn't tell you how the crack got there, right? Who brought the crack? Who brought the base, right? To Nino Brown. It wasn't even Nino Brown, right? Who was it? G Money. G Money brought the freebase, the crack, to Nino Brown, right? Nino Brown, shit wasn't starting. Listen, Nino Brown's empire didn't start having a huge issue. Well, it was already a huge issue because drugs were illegal, right? The war on drugs were declared, and so Nino Brown had to be ruthless. But what happened when G Money brought that crack, that freebase? Well, shit went haywire, yo, right? Shit went haywire. And guess who started using it? Nino Brown started using that crack. He started wilding out. Let me tell y'all something. Nino Brown wasn't the villain in New Jack City. I know, the head Deuce knows what I'm talking about. Oh, head Deuce. Nino Brown was not the villain. Hell, Ice-T's character, the pig, was not the villain. No. Who was the villain? Well, they didn't talk about the villain in New Jack City. The CIA. The CIA, who helped concoct the crack formula, who brought the cocaine and heroin, they were the villains. Nino Brown was just an entrepreneur. Okay, he was murdering his people. He was a villain. He wasn't the villain though. He was a low level. He was a mid-level villain. You understand what I'm saying? The biggest villain was Nixon. All right, here's the thing. Let's look at the alcohol prohibition, right? Let's look at the alcohol prohibition and Kennedy and all these people who wanted the alcohol prohibition to exist, right? Why did they want to prohibit alcohol? Not because it was dangerous to human life. No, it's because they knew they could make a shitload of money off of bootleg liquor. They knew what could happen. They knew how far they can get. They knew how much control they can have over the people if they prohibited alcohol, right? The alcohol prohibition birthed the La Cosa Nostra. If it wasn't for the alcohol prohibition, then La Cosa Nostra would not have gotten as big as they did. They got so big because of the intertwinings and the relationships they had with politicians. The politicians, right, like Nucky, y'all know who Nucky Thomas is, watched the loosely based adaptation of Nucky Thompson's Empire in Boardwalk Empire, all right? It was about Nucky Thomas. They called him Nucky Thompson, but his name was Nucky Thomas, and he was a hardcore Irish bootlegger who was also a politician who had dealings with other politicians, including the president, including all these other government agencies and politicians, high level. Let me tell y'all something. Prohibiting a substance, excuse me, prohibiting a substance like alcohol, marijuana, crack, cocaine, heroin, it's never been about helping people. It's never been about keeping people safe. It's been about profit. It's been about power and control. That's what it's always been about. You know? So, that's why they'll legalize marijuana, because they can't hide the fact that marijuana is not a dangerous drug, right? They can't hide that. They can't hide any longer that marijuana is beneficial, can be beneficial to your health in some forms. Not necessarily smoking it, but there's a lot of uses for it. I think I saw old head dudes mention hemp concrete. There's a lot you can do with hemp. Clothing, you know what I'm saying, all kind of shit. You got CBD. Man, a little distracted. You got CBD. A lot of benefits. They can't hide that any longer. So they'll legalize that. But don't plan on them ever legalizing drugs federally. I know they did it, what, in Portland? In Portland, Oregon, I think. They legalized all drugs, I think, in Portland. You know, they basically legalize them or decriminalize them in San Francisco. So, I mean, but these are small areas. Energy TV says the one thing about marijuana, it can be used as medication for textiles, fuel, and oil, or lubrication. It can make prop paper, and this is a renewable source that can be grown quickly. Yeah, just like bamboo. Bamboo has a lot of uses too. As a matter of fact, the US dollar, your paper currency, is made partly from hemp paper. So it's hemp, linen, cotton, and shit like that. So I think there's hemp in it. Don't wait. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there is a small amount of hemp in paper or in the dollar. I know there's linen and cotton. Oh yeah. I'm big on Freeway Rick said. Government called red-handed. Yeah, that's what's right. Yeah. Oh, hey, Deuces, you're absolutely right. Oh, absolutely right. Him and Derek Farrell. You know Derek Farrell? You know? They used them up. You know, when they do, listen, when they declassify certain shit, there's certain movies and shows that come out. When they declassify shit, they sensationalize it via the big screen or television to make it not such a big deal, to make it intriguing. So when they declassified how cocaine got into the country via the CIA, they made that movie Made in America with Tom Cruise, where there was a pilot who was flying in drugs for the CIA. And then they got that TV show, Snowfall, about pretty much the same thing. How it got to street level in Los Angeles and started proliferating from there. You understand what I'm saying? The dude, Lil Pookie up the street, was working with a CIA agent with these drugs and all that shit. So, like, they put the shit out there. But because it's such a great movie and a great TV show, we're not really mad at the government. Because it's so cool, right? Oh man, cool. They made a cool movie about how the CIA brought drugs into America. Cool, man. Oh, such a cool movie. Tom Cruise is such a great actor. That's the focus. Instead of focusing on, hey, why the fuck would the CIA and the DEA and all these other agencies want to bring drugs to the country and put them on the streets of America in black neighborhoods? Why would they want to do that? Well, same reason they did it in the Cotton Club, right? Y'all familiar with the Cotton Club in Harlem? That's how heroin got so prolific, right? Do you think that a bunch of Negroes from Harlem went to these tropical countries across the pond to bring back heroin? Hell no. No. Oh, but they want to tell you that Frank Wright, you know, what's his name? You know, American Gangster, that movie. They want to tell you how Frank Lucas, he single-handedly went to Vietnam to bring back hundreds of tons of heroin. All by himself. He formulated the plan. He was the mastermind behind bringing tons and tons of heroin to the United States using ex-military buddies, right? Putting it in coffins. That was all him. That was all him. But they weren't talking about what happened before he decided to go over there himself, right? It was all Frank Lucas. And the cop that took him in, took him down. He was the hero. And, you know, the government were the good guys that took down Frank Lucas because he brought so many drugs all by himself. The mastermind of bringing millions of tons of heroin into this country. If they don't get the fuck out of here with that, it was all Frank Lucas, right? I don't think so. Double Crossed. I think I saw that movie. Chelsea, okay, yeah, so they decriminalized drugs in Oregon. Now, if you let me tell you something. Look, let me tell you something. People like ABL would like you to think that, okay, because they decriminalized drugs in Oregon, everybody in Oregon is going to do drugs now. No. The people that wanted to do drugs in Oregon before they decriminalized drugs, they're going to continue to want to do drugs in Oregon. And the people that don't want to do drugs in Oregon, they're not going to do drugs in Oregon. They had no desire. Just because, oh, well, you know what? Drugs are legal in Oregon now. Let me go do drugs because of that. No, that's not how it works. People that want to do something are going to do it whether there's a law against it or not, right? Just like murder. You know, there's laws against murder, right? When has the law against murder ever stopped a murderer from murdering somebody? Can anybody answer me that? If someone wanted to kill their wife, did they think, you know, killing my wife is illegal. I'm not going to do it because it's illegal. No. People who really wanted to kill their wives or kill anybody or kill a rival gang member, they weren't like, oh man, if I kill this rival gang member, you know it's illegal. I shouldn't do it. No, you know what? You know what, guys? Let's call a truce because murder is illegal. No, that's not how it works. You see what I'm saying? What they're going to do is they're going to be a little bit more discreet, right? They don't want to get caught, so they're going to be discreet about how they murder somebody. They're not just going to not murder somebody. They're just going to be a little more sneaky. They're going to try to hide it more. This idea that making things illegal is going to stop the crime is stupid, right? You know, laws are designed to punish people after they've already committed the crime, right? There's nothing preventative about a law. Laws are designed to punish, to cage people, to find someone. If you want to find somebody legitimately, if you want to lock somebody up, well, not really legitimately, depending on what the crime is. If you want to lock somebody up, then you just make a law against it, right? You make a law against it, but it's not going to stop it. What? Are you kidding? Creating laws stops nothing. You understand what I'm saying? It might deter some people. It might give people second thoughts. But really what they're doing, the people that allow laws to stop them from committing a crime didn't really want to commit the crime in the first place. They just wanted a reason not to do it because they didn't really want to do it, right? They're thinking, oh man, if I do this, I can get caught and get in trouble, so I'm not going to do it. Well, they didn't really want to do it in the first place, right? Something else was going to stop them, just like suicide, right? People who really want to commit suicide, they don't need a firearm. Suddenly, oh, and that's the thing. Oh, you know, man, they tell you that 46,000 people die. I know I'm ranting and going in a lot of different directions, but I mean, it's all ties together, right? 40,000 people a year die from, they say die from firearms, right? But more than 2/3 of those people committed suicide with a firearm, right? So they want to make it, since we have this knowledge now, they can't hide that, right? So they'll say, well, that's why we need gun laws in place to stop people from getting suicide, right? Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. I don't know if y'all knew this. I don't know if y'all knew this already. But if someone wants to commit suicide, they're going to commit suicide or attempt suicide, whether they fail or not. They don't need a firearm to commit suicide. So it's not like they're going to say, well, you know what, man? The government, damn it, they just outlawed, they just took away AR-15s, man. They banned AR-15s. Fuck, man. God damn it. Oh, man, they limited magazine rounds. They limited it to 10 rounds. Oh man, fuck. Well, you know what? I really wanted to kill myself today, but because I can't have an AR-15 and because I can't have a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, fuck it, I'm not gonna do it. Who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? So anybody that tells you, you know, if they use that, oh, well, we need stronger common sense gun safety laws in place for suicide prevention, then what I want you to do is smack them upside the head with some common sense, all right? Because either they're stupid or intellectually dishonest. Even if they go ahead and say, you know what? 26,000 people kill themselves with firearms every year. We're just going to abolish the Second Amendment and outlaw every firearm. What you think? Oh man, someone who wants to commit suicide, they're gonna be like, you know what? Ah, God damn it. These fuckers, they outlawed every gun. They abolished the Second Amendment. Oh, fuck. I can't kill myself today. No, that's not how it works. Even when it comes to murder, right? A murderer is not gonna say, you know what? Let's say even a mass pew-pewer, right? Let's say a mass pew-pewer wants to mass pew-pew. Okay. Oh, you know what? The government just decided to ban magazines that have more than 10 rounds. I'm not going to mass pew-pew today. No, you idiots. what they're going to do, is go into the black market and buy a 100-round drum on the street. Or, yeah, that's what they're going to do. Because if you ban magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, you're not, what do you think? What do you think, the government is Thanos? You think they're gonna snap and all the 30-round magazines are gonna fucking dust? What are we thinking here? The government, government Thanos, snap your fingers and make all these things that you want to ban disappear. No, motherfucker. The black market is gonna have plenty of magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. Plenty. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? You think people are gonna just, oh, you know what? The government, they banned my 30-round magazine. Let me go melt it down. Let me go destroy it. You fucking kidding me? Who are you kidding? Huh? There are some law-abiding citizens that would happily become criminals so they won't have to give up their 30-round magazine. Let me tell you what these laws are designed to do. These laws, and see, this is why they want the registry so bad. This is why they want the registration. This is why they want universal background checks. They want registration so they can see who has what. They want you to register ammo because they want to know how much ammo you got. They want to know what type of ammo you have. They want to know how much, right? And then they can just come whenever they choose and say, you know what? We have a word that a neo-Nazi group, right? An alt-right group, because that's their boogeyman this decade, right? This decade, their boogeyman is white supremacist groups. That's their boogeyman, all right? What was the boogeyman in the 2000s? Can y'all tell me? Who was the boogeyman? Muslims, Arabs, right? Well, that was an international thing. They had to get their feet wet, right? They had to bring about the Patriot Act to see who would go for it and who wouldn't. They had to test the waters with the Patriot Act. So, okay, it worked out pretty good. They got the DHS out of it. They got the TSA out of it, right? They're able to commit rendition. They can snatch people up and take them to remote locations so they can torture them. They can do all that. They can send people to Guantanamo Bay, people who are suspected of terrorism, right? Not convicted, not even have proof of. But if they suspect you of being a terrorist, they can take you to Guantanamo Bay and Guantanamo Bay and hold you indefinitely without trial, right? Well, that's what they were doing with foreigners, with Muslims, people like that, right? Arabs. Well, now they have to expand the program to include, guess who? Homegrown terrorists, right? See, it's a stepping stone. The Patriot Act was for so-called international suspected terrorists, right? Well, guess what? That's just not good enough. Because now we have homegrown terrorists right here in the United States. And guess what they look like? They look like Brian from High Impact Flicks. They look like Adam Green from No More News. They look like all these people, right? They look like Ted Nugent. They took like, that's what they look like. They drive big trucks. You know what I mean? They got big gray beards. They want freedom by any means necessary, right? Isn't it obvious to you guys? It's obvious to me. Let me tell you something. 20 years ago, well, 20 years ago, I was still in the Army. All right, I'll say 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I had a one-track mind. I was a very freedom-minded individual. I understood that we were oppressed by the system, but my understanding was limited because I thought it was just black people, right? That's what we all thought. Me and my fellow Hotep two-steppers. We all thought, you know, I thought that it was just black people in America that were enslaved, that were oppressed. But I had to look in the last, I'd say 6-7 years, I had to look a little deeper than that because I was looking at these so-called black revolutionaries who really, they're no real threat. They're no real threat to the government. Real shit, because we're so busy fighting each other, even within these black revolutionary groups. You have people that want to be the top dog. They want to be the head. They want to be the HNIC, the head knuckle in charge, right? And so, even within groups, you have people within the same group fighting amongst each other for power, to be the boss. And they were not really about action. And those who were about action, well, they were oppressors in their own right. Why? Because they wanted shit to be their way, no matter what. If you were to be aligned with them, to be in league with them, you had to do things their way or not at all. So these black militia groups, or these black militants, black revolutionaries, they're no real threat by themselves to the government. No. Not really. So I had to figure out, kind of on my own, and kind of going outside of my comfort zone in terms of, you know, what kind of information I wanted to find and who I wanted to get information from. Now, I always fact check when I'm being the information I receive from anybody, right? I always fact check. I always look myself and say, you know what? Let me look into what he's saying. Let me see if there's more nuance or more details I can flesh out. And so I do that. And let me tell you something. I realize it's not just black folks, it's everybody. If you're not part of that elite cabal, right, then you are not a part of the team. It's like George Carlin said. I gleaned a lot of knowledge from George Carlin. Let me tell y'all something, man. George Carlin was a visionary. He was way ahead of his time. George Carlin was a prophet of sorts. he can see the writing on the wall. He was a comedian, but this dude had it. And he was the one who really turned me around, right? He was the one that got me to understand that no, it's not just black people, right? Are there racist people among the oppressed that don't like black folks? Yes. But they're not the ones oppressing us, right? They're also being oppressed. The hate that we have for each other is being brewed by the controllers, by the elites. I had to come to that understanding. In order for me to grow as an individual, in order for me to become truly objective with the information I receive and the information that I put out, I had to say, no, it's deeper than that. And that's where I'm at with it, right? I had to go deeper than that. So I understand. If we operate as though, listen, I'm not saying that everybody has to be best friends and, you know, kiss each other's asses, right? But in order to fight the true enemy, we have to come together in some way. Otherwise, it's going to be a lost cause, right? And what's the huge division right now? It's not even black versus white, right? What division do they have going right now? Liberal versus conservative, right? That's a big deal right now. So, I'm telling y'all, man, you know why it's like that? Because the old idea was that the conservatives hated black people, this, that, and the third. They would never have anything to do with them. Then you have the ABLs come out, the Brandon Tatums, the Candace Owenses, and all that. But they can't say that anymore. So now it has to be left versus right. The big villain right now is the white conservative, right? That's the new boogeyman. Let me tell y'all something. We had the Patriot Act, right? We had the Patriot Act in the 2000s and the 2010s, right? To the late 2010s, right? For the Islamic terrorists. Well, you know, they destabilized an entire region, the United States government, destabilized an entire region. They ruined millions of lives, just killed hundreds of thousands of children in the name of so-called democracy, right? So they feel like they have accomplished essentially what they needed to accomplish. So now they have to bring it back here and focus their attention on their war on domestic terrorists, right? That's the new focus. That's what the TAPS Act is about. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the TAPS Act, but y'all should look that up. If anybody, one of my mods, if y'all want to put the TAPS Act, I forgot what number it is, but it's a TAPS Act. This is well known. That is going to be the Patriot Act for domestic terrorists. Okay? Right? That's their answer as well to skirting the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, right? And the Fifth Amendment, right? You know, that's going to be their way to get around those pesky rights that we have outlined by the Constitution. So y'all should really look up. Y'all should really look into the TAPS Act. All right, but yeah, get ready for it. And this leads me to this whole Gina Carano thing, right? And this is exactly what Gina Carano was speaking to. Don't beat your neighbors. Don't beat up your neighbors like they did to the Jews in Germany before the Nazis came in and started rounding the Jews up. You understand what I'm saying? You have to understand what parallel she was drawing. Like I explained in the video I did yesterday, I think. The parallel was not being drawn the way most people would have you think. Like the idiot Lucas, right? The idiot Lucas, the coward Lucas, the intellectually dishonest Lucas, he wanted you to believe that she was drawing a parallel between how the Nazis treated the Jews, right? Yeah, I said the J word. It is what it is. The J's. How the Nazis treated the J's. She wasn't drawing a parallel for that. She was talking about the neighbors of the J's, how they treated them, right? There are stages, steps and stages to genocide. You understand? There are steps and stages to genocide. You don't just go and just do it, right? First of all, you have to create a propaganda campaign to demonize the group you want to commit genocide against, right? So they had to demonize the Jays, and so the neighbors of the Jays, they attacked. They did the first rounds of attack, okay? And this is what's happening right now with so-called conservative voices, right? Oh no, not this way, not this way, not this time. That's what they did. So right now we are in those stages with the propaganda campaign and neighbor attacking neighbor. That's what she was talking about. All right. So, and it's real. There's truth to that. No matter what, I mean, you can believe what the idiot Lucas believes, and think that she was over exaggerating, like it was a false comparison or a false analogy. It really wasn't, man. It really wasn't. It's just happening in a different form now. What happened, right? What happened? What has Antifa been doing to the MAGA people? Attacking them. You have Antifa attacking the MAGA people. And when the MAGA people fight back, right, like the Proud Boys, when they attacked, when Antifa attacked them and attacked the Proud Boys, and the Proud Boys turned around and went after and returned to the Antifa with their fight. Who caught the shit there? Not the Antifa. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the same shit. You have people attacking MAGA people, taking their shit, destroying their property, beating them up, shooting them and killing them, stalking them in freaking Portland, Oregon, and shooting them, shit like that. So I don't understand how he can say you can't compare the two. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because he felt like the idiot Lucas felt like he was that the conservative movement turned their back on him. So the best way he can get back at them is every time he turns around, he finds some way to go against them. Right? That's really what this is about. Let me see. Oh, Black Spring is back. That's what's up. Let's see. Yeshua Return says more car accident deaths because of aggressive road rage drivers than Tecate deaths. Nobody talks about that. Yeah, I mean, the increase in suicide rates, the increase in drug overdoses, the increase in other natural cause deaths, like all these deaths are increasing. They're not talking about that. You know, Snap, this is what Energy TV says, you know, Snap, if someone wants to commit the S word and they're too scared to do it, nowadays, all you have to do is call a cop. Yeah, no shit. Yes, return, nobody dies in car wrecks anymore. Nobody died of cancer anymore. Everyone dies from Modelo19. No shit. Black Spring says, I hear you, Energy TV. Confiscation, exactly. If the government wants to ban knives, I'll just make my own. Exactly. Yes, return says, they lump us in with Q people. Crap, yeah. Not all of us buying that. Exactly. Hey, what's going on? What's up, Thunder Guy 335? NRK TV says, I don't know if I am, but I would not be surprised if I'm on some list. Yeah, I know I'm on a list. Being a veteran in the first place puts you on a list. They have everything they need on me. They got my DNA. They got my fingerprints. I mean, they can do a lot of damage to me if they wanted to. But I'm no real threat to them. I just sound like some crazy conspiracy theory nut who happens to be a veteran. But you always got to keep your head on the swivel. Energy TV says, I talk to people all over the world, and I have found out a lot of people around the world think that we are all racist in this country, and the only reason they think that is by mainstream media. Exactly. I just want to be left alone. I did not declare war on the government. The government declared war on me. Exactly, man. I don't understand how people don't get that. Yeshua's return. Who is this Luke is he talking about? Yeah, it's another. Don't worry about him. I'm officially over that clown. Like I'm done with, outright attacks against him because Yeshua's return. This YouTuber, they call him the Amazing Lucas. We had a sort of a disagreement while he was doing a live stream, and I wrote something in the super chat that kind of triggered his nipples. It triggered his clit. All right. He got sand in his clit and got irritated and decided to threaten my children. So from that point, I declared myself his number one enemy. I even called him out a few times, to fight me. But it is what it is. I'm over it. But if I have to use him in a video to kind of make a comparison or to use as an example of hypocrisy, you know what I'm saying, then I'll continue to do that. No problem with it. But I'm no longer going to put so much energy into him, even though I'll always be alert. I'll always be aware of what's going on around me. And I will always have my head on the swivel and stay frosty in case he decides one day to act on his threat. And the big thing is, it really wouldn't be a big deal if we didn't live in the same city. So we live in the same city, and he pointed out how he saw in some of my live streams, he knows where I be hanging out at. So, he implied that he would show up and do something. So I always got to be ready for that, and I always will be. But other than that, it is what it is. I think I made my point, and he never made his. Whew. What a day. What's up for Black and Righteous folks? Yeshua's Return says, yeah, don't feed the trolls. Eric Brand did a good roasting of Alan Moody Defend. Check out, I will. I would check it out. Yeah. So yeah, back to Gina Carano, man. Turns out she's gonna be making a movie with, you know, Ben Shapiro's production company, you know, Daily Wire. So, you know, listen, I know it's a dog and pony show, and it's probably a psyop distraction, but I mean, I gotta give my props to Gina Carano for not letting cancel culture destroy her life, right? She's like, you know what? Fuck it. Y'all don't want to fuck with your girl? You know, I'll fucks with my boy. You know, somebody will fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got plenty of enemies that are willing to, you know, compete and all that shit. So I'ma roll with them. Sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes you gotta, you know, take an adversity and turn it into, you know, turn it into an accomplishment, right? Turn it into an accomplishment by surpassing that adversity, by getting over that adversity. Jesus. You know what I mean? So good for her. You can't leave links. In order to leave links, you have to be a mod. You have to be a moderator. Or a, yeah, is that what they call them, moderators? So I'll go ahead and make you a mod real quick. Boom. Now you can leave a link if you so choose. Yeshua's Return. In order to leave links, you have to be a moderator. You have to have a wrench. Thunder God 335 said, I don't like that coward. And you best believe that I'm coming for him. Thunder God, what's your beef with him? If you don't mind me asking. Is it because you just don't like him? Whew. George Carlin was a modern day version. What's up, Steve Willie? George Carlin was a modern day version of the court gesture. He pointed out so many things that were true. Many of us loved him. Most dismissed him until recently. Just so y'all know, when I get tired, my African accent comes on. Okay, just so y'all know. Oh yeah, that's for damn sure. Thunder God, he runs his mouth and knowing he can't walk the walk. You know, I really don't like judging a book by its cover, or, you know, judging people based on some shit you see on the internet, but I really have to say, you know, no one who's really about that life, if you're really about that life, you don't need to sell so many wolf tickets, right? You don't have to sell so many wolf tickets. as he does. You know, you don't. Let me tell you something. He feels like he has a certain stature in his little YouTube live streams, sitting in his chair because he's a bodybuilder, right? He feels like, oh well, I'm a bodybuilder. I got some size. You know, I've done competitions, this, that, and the third. I have a what they call that, a profile picture with me holding some sword, half naked. So I have presented myself with a certain stature where I can intimidate most men verbally and with my stature, because I know how to talk big. Boom. That is as far as I need to go. Some people are like that. I feel like that's what he, you know, I don't know for sure because I never fought the guy, right? I never fought him head on. But let me see. Let me tell you something. I don't have confidence in his level of training in regards to fighting, because people who bodybuild, right? People who bodybuild, there's a certain level of dedication you need to be a bodybuilder that's going to compete, right? Bodybuilders who compete, there's a certain level of dedication that you have for that. And there really is no time for fight training, right? There really isn't. You know, not to say that some bodybuilders can't have a natural ability to throw those hands. Some people just have a natural ability to throw those hands, right? Some people do. Some people have a natural, you know, genetic ability. They just have it. They have the reaction. You know, they can react. You know, they have the speed. They have the agility naturally, right, to throw them hands. But when you encounter somebody who has the natural ability to throw those hands, and they're trained in fighting, well, that's a whole nother level. That's a whole nother level. That's a whole nother level. Knowing how to throw the hands, right, is one thing. But knowing how to throw the hands and being trained to properly throw the hands and to do other things that go along with it, like defense, right, slipping, rolling, you know what I'm saying, footwork, you know what I'm saying, stamina especially, those things, those have to be trained, right? Those have to be trained in. You have to dedicate a certain level of training to that. And if you're a trained fighter, you can do strength training and powerlifting. But if your focus is training to fight, then you're not going to look like a bodybuilder like that unless you're genetically predisposed to looking like that, right? Like, let's look at Mike Tyson, right? Mike Tyson he was genetically built to be muscular like that, right? He was genetically built to have a massive chest, massive shoulders, big old legs, right? And he put on muscle. He's a mesomorph, right? So he's genetically predisposed to being built like that. But he would never, if he was a bodybuilder though, oh man, he would be so much more ripped than he was in that boxing ring. He would be a lot more ripped. But because he's dedicated as a fighter, he ain't got time to get ripped. Unless he's like, and he don't have to fucking cut weight. He didn't have to cut weight for no fight. You understand? If anything, he had to put weight on. So he might have to, you know, because he was like, what, 214 pounds, 212, you know, to be a heavyweight. So he probably had to gain some weight before a fight. And, you know, shit like that. So if you're a trained fighter, you're not going to also be like a great bodybuilder. You're not. It's just the time. You just don't have the time. And like I said, some people are naturally built to be muscular and lean, right? So I don't, Lucas, he might have the natural ability to throw the hands. You never know. You never know until you encounter somebody. But is he trained on how to throw those hands against another trained fighter? That's the different story right there. Because I can tell you that me, myself, I have the natural ability to throw the hands, right? It's natural. Like and I have those fast twitch muscle fibers that will knock a motherfucker out. You know what I'm saying? Like Mike Tyson. Like I could put a whole lot of power in a single punch, right? Like Mike Tyson did. Like let's say, what's that dude's name? What's his name? Fuck. I forgot about him. Who's that dude that fought Tyson Fury last time and got knocked out? Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder has those fast twitch muscle fibers to knock a Mickey Ficky out. But guess what? This is a perfect example. Deontay Wilder has a natural genetic ability. He has those fast twitching muscle fibers to concentrate a lot of power in his right hand and knock somebody out, right? But he did not focus on every other aspect of the fight game, right? So he relied heavily on his right hand, right? He relied heavily on his right hand. He called it the great equalizer, right? But when he encountered somebody like Tyson Fury, who, first of all, in order to knock somebody out with that right hand, you have to land it, right? Well, Tyson Fury is a big dude, right? Because it's a heavyweight. So typically when you look at heavyweights in the ring, right, what are they doing, right? They're lumbering around. They're doing this, right? They're not really dancing. They're not on their toes a lot. They're not dancing around the ring like that. So Deontay Wilder is used to fighting big lumbering heavyweights with very limited footwork movement and all that other shit, right? But when he encountered somebody who was as elusive as Tyson Fury, his lack of training was exposed, right? He didn't want to do a lot of cardio. He didn't want to work on his footwork. He thought that right hand was all he needed. He thought that 1-2 was all. Yeah, he had the fundamentals down, right? He knew how to throw some combinations. But what about cutting somebody off in the ring? What about cutting somebody off in the ring, or cutting somebody off that's dancing around? How do you cut them off if you don't train for it, right? What about fighting off the back foot? What about fighting while you're backing up? All those things. What about fighting? What about pressure? What about going up against a pressure fighter that's not afraid of your right hand, that you can't land your right hand on? And then when you landed your right hand on him, it didn't do anything. It didn't do what you wanted it to do. Oh, AZ Infidel was good. Xander says, I'm still rooting for you to beat that ass. That's funny. Where I'm from, we don't play that best backup. What you say? Yeah. No, I don't play that either. That's why I was like, I mean, he's from LA, like, but from what I think he's from the West LA, like Santa Monica, Venice area, you know. But don't get it twisted. Oh shit. This freaking thing. Hold on, y'all. I gotta put this damn thing holder back on. So you get some new shit. You should just get some new shit. Hold on, y'all. Fuck. But yeah, I mean, don't get it twisted. There's some dangerous shit that goes on in Venice and Santa Monica. But I don't think that it is what it is, man. Like, fuck. God damn it. Move this over here. Move this closer. Pardon me, y'all. I'm trying to fix my equipment here. Before Black Righteous Folk says I'm about to ride my bike, and as I listen, that's what's up. Yeah, Wilder is definitely undisciplined. That's what I was saying, man. Like even him being a natural knockout artist, you know, if you're not training, if you're not dedicated to training as a well-rounded fighter, when you encounter someone who has natural ability and does that training, then you're assed out. You're not going to have the stamina. You're not going to have the technique. You're not going to have the patience. You're not going to have the adaptiveness, right? Shit. So we're gonna talk about boxing a little bit. I'm interested in boxing. Let me see. So the first time, shit, I can't snap this. The first time Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder, he danced around a lot, was lighter on his feet, you know what I'm saying? And Deontay Wilder couldn't land that right hand like he wanted to in the beginning. But in the later rounds, he was able to catch him with the right hand, right? I think in round 10. Oh, shit. I'm just, God damn it. Fucking shit. Oh, there we go. In round 10, Deontay was able to land that right hand that dropped Fury. So, and in the 12th round, but he was able to come back in that same round. And to me, he won that 10th round, even though he got knocked down. He came back and handled Deontay pretty well. And in the 12th round, the same thing. He caught him with the right and then the left hook that dropped him for like 7 seconds. Right? People thought that, he was knocked out, but I knew better. It's fucking equipment malfunction. Shit. Come on, man. It's close. Shit. It's annoying as shit. Okay.
I think it's like, because especially as a kid, it's something that you can't have.
This is fucking great. I need a better way. God damn it. Whatever. I ain't got time for this shit. Hold on. What's up? My wife is in the house. What's wrong? This little thing right here came off. I'm trying to get it to snap back on, but it's hard to do it with my vest on. Trying to snap it. Fuck it. Hey y'all, my wife is in the building. Damn, I don't ever see you up in here. In combat, you're the one who's going to be yelling about their equipment. Right. Fuck, man. Cover me. I gotta put my canteen holder back on. Shit. No, she got caught up on the fence. And then when I pulled away from it, it fucking snapped it off. So now, whatever. I didn't break it. I just, the snaps came off. I think I need to fucking find a way to make them a little less easy to come unsnapped. I was trying to drink some water. That's what I wanted to do. Because I did have those old school military canteens, but you know, it's plastic shit. So I decided to get something a little more durable with the stainless steel. So I got these joints right here, and I got some pouches for them, like right there, like the canteen pouches. And you can adjust them to this different type of shit, but whew, a lot better off. So what's up, wifey? What made you decide to come up in here and check your boy out? This is a rare occurrence, y'all. I think my wife has only been in like 2 or 3 of my live streams since I started doing YouTube. And that was like my first 3 or 4 actual videos or live streams that I actually ever did. And she's probably not even on here anymore. Take cover, yeah. Oh man. That's how you get your gear figured out. Oh yeah. She definitely must be bored. Wondering what the hell I'm doing. What's taking up so long? Usually she just FaceTimes me and asks me what the hell I'm doing. I guess she decided to see what the big fuss was all about. You know? Well, as you can see, your husband's out here getting his ruck on, and I don't have any women around me. And the rest of these guys will tell you, I have not been gallivanting with females during my rucking. So, whew. Wonder God 335 says, you have a nice family. Don't let anybody tell you different. I miss you too, baby. Zaddy will be home soon. You know I gotta go to the farmer's market and whatnot. Did you start them short ribs yet? I already talked about a lot of the juicy stuff that I had set up for the day. Now I'm thinking about short ribs. So anyway, whew. Man, goddamn equipment malfunction got me. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Deontay Wilder. Okay. So, you know, Tyson Fury danced around the ring, was light on his feet, right? Even though he weighed more than Deontay Wilder that first fight, he was still lighter on his feet in comparison. And when he got caught with Deontay's weapons, I think he was able to adapt. This is what trained fighters do. They don't just stick to one style, right? And focus on that. They adapt. So he knew that dancing around the ring would help him not get hit by Deontay's right hand. But what he learned was that might not last the entire fight. And it didn't, right? He almost got knocked out. He almost lost that one. So what did he do to prepare for the second fight? Well, he got heavier. You understand? He got heavier. He switched his trainers, all right? He got a different trainer. You know, Emmanuel Stewart's nephew or whatever. I forgot. He joined a different training team, right? Had a different training coach. Damn pants are falling. Oh, you about to start him? All right now. All right now, wifey. Better get in that kitchen, woman, and get them things cracking. Y'all funny. AZ Enfield says, Kayla, thank you very much for allowing us to borrow your husband. Kimon Reed Unstoppable says, have a wonderful Sunday evening. Kayla Robertson. Man, I have the best what do they call you? Audience in the world. I don't even want to say audience. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all the best. You know? I may not have tens of thousands of subs, you know, but I'm slowly building a base of good-natured people, good freedom-loving people, you know what I'm saying, that all want the same thing at the end of the day. I do wish sometimes I would get some more dissenters up in here, but I couldn't ask for a better group of people to disseminate my information to and spread the message of freedom. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we would have each other's back. Y'all some good folks. But anyway, I'm almost at the truck. So I think I'm gonna hop off of this. You know what I'm saying? Hop off of this thing. And I'll probably see you Tuesday. If I do another rucking live. I don't know. I might ruck on Tuesday. Or I might do some wind sprints. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. We'll see how my foot's feeling. Because I probably wouldn't have been able to do wind sprints today the way my foot was feeling, even though I was able to ruck. You know, it's a different type of impact. So your information is important to share with everyone here. I appreciate you. Come on, read Unstoppable. Yes, thank you for saluting Miss Gorilla, Mrs. Gorilla. You know what I'm saying? My beautiful wife, who has given me 6 amazing children, 6 beautiful children. You know what I'm saying? That I would do anything to protect my family and my wife against anybody or anything that would do them harm. So, you know, I appreciate my wife. Anyway, whew, hold on. Was it 6? I appreciate you guys for joining the live stream. Yeah, except for my ugly ass, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how I was so lucky to have so many beautiful children with my ugly ass mug. Oh yeah, for sure, AZ Infidel. I would love that. You know? I would love to spar intellectually on YouTube. Because we don't have to agree on everything. And it's okay to express why we have different views on certain things in an amicable and respectful manner. There's nothing with respecting people you disagree with. And that's one thing the coward idiot Lucas, you don't need to be disrespectful to the people who disagree with you or you disagree with, because now I don't know if you care, but that's how you create enemies. You know what I'm saying? That's how, if you're out in the street and you're recognized, you're more likely to be attacked than embraced. You understand what I'm saying? Not that I'm saying that's what you should, want, but don't be surprised if one day those words come back in a physical form to take your ass out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, in a fiction novel, that happens sometimes. People talk so much shit to so many different people. And look, you're talking shit and disrespecting people you've never met in your life. You don't know how they think. You don't know what they're capable of. You don't know what they look like. Fortunately for you, you know what I look like. But you don't know what these other people that you disrespect look like. You don't know where they really live. You might see out-of-state area codes and all that shit. Let me tell you something. I don't care how tough you are. There's always somebody that can whoop your ass. There's always somebody that can take you out. You understand? So that's why I told him you should always operate and treat people on the internet as you would treat them in the face. Because you might actually encounter them. And you better be ready to have that same energy. You know what I'm saying? That's why I try to treat people like I would treat them no matter what. Even if I'm a complete asshole. If I'm a complete asshole to you right here through this screen, I'm going to be a complete asshole to you in person. As a matter of fact, I'm known to be more of an asshole in person to the people I know, to the people I encounter on a daily basis, than I am to you guys or anybody that I might disagree with on YouTube. I'm more of an asshole in real life, face to face. You understand what I'm saying? So, well, that's what they say. I could be more of an asshole. That's just what it is. With him, I think it's the opposite, but it is what it is. And you just have to treat people with respect. Xander said, you're not gonna snap. And if you say you are again, I will come out there. We're gonna fight. Black genetics are beautiful. I will not tolerate the slander. Ha! That's funny. Oh no, good. Thank you, Xander. No, that was just a joke. I was responding to old head deuce, old silly ass. But no, you know, I don't think I'm a bad looking fella. You know, I don't think that at all. I think you know, I've been told, you know, quite often that I'm, you know, good looking and all that shit. But you know, it is what it is. You know. Oh, God damn it. California Dreamer says, I don't know about y'all, but I'm so in love with your basketball team. You should counsel other young couples on how to succeed in marriage. You know, that's a good idea. I got a problem with that. Me and my wife can do a channel together about that. Let's see. California Jimmy NYC says I'm well-rounded. I appreciate that. I'm sure it was only when you're provoked. Oh yeah, it's always when I'm provoked. But sometimes I'm a smart ass. So I can be a smart ass, right? I can be sarcastic, you know what I'm saying? And all that shit. You know. But when I feel like I'm being disrespected, like in person, I do have the tendency, I can fly off the handle I've gotten better, but I can fly off the handle pretty fast if I feel like I'm being disrespected in person. But I would never threaten to fight somebody, right? I would never threaten to beat somebody's ass. I would never threaten to harm somebody's children. Even if I do think I can beat somebody's ass, I would never like tell them that. I would never express it in that way. Oh my God. Woo! I have never threatened physical harm on anyone. Because, I mean, I've always had harm threatened against me. You know, typically when I get into fights, I'm usually not the first one to swing. This is video bombing. I'm usually not the first one swinging. So, typically. I don't think I've ever been in a fight where I swung first. Well, there might have been a few. You know what I'm saying? Because I always wanted there to be no doubt that I'm not the initiator of the violence. You understand what I'm saying? In case legally, you know what I'm saying? Well, they attacked me first. But there's some points, I think there was a couple times where, look, there's certain instances where you know where it's going to go to. And sometimes it might be a good idea to take that first swing if you know there's no other option. If you know that this is what it's going to come to, and you're not necessarily thinking about legal repercussions, you might want to be like, you know what? I'm going to take the first swing, boom, bang, bang. You know what I mean? But I've always been confident enough in my reflexes, in my defensive skills, you know, to not get knocked out by the first punch or not even get the first punch landed on me. So, I mean, I've always been confident in my ability to, you know, to get out of the way or to dodge a punch or something like that. Because typically I know it's coming. And so I'm more of a counter puncher. So I can counter real good. Like I can slip or I can duck, I can roll and come back with something like, and look, I defended myself. There's no doubt in my mind. But if you're not that confident in your defensive skills, like slipping or something like that, you can always read when someone has that aggression towards you. You don't always, see, look, when it comes to self-defense, they don't always have to take the first swing, right? There can be that imminent threat. There can be a perception of an imminent threat that you can preempt. I think even in some states, like if they swing on you first, if you swing back, then you're initiating it, then you're participating in a fight. It's weird, right? I think even in California, they want you to be like defending yourself before the first punch. Like they want you to, it's weird. Like if you take a swing back, then they're saying you're fighting each other or some shit like that. But if you hit somebody first and stop them from attacking you, then that's self-defense. It's kind of weird. So you just got to know the stupid ass laws. Anyway, yeah, the twitching, you know, you see it in their eyes if they're clenching their jaw or something like that, if they're tensing up, if they're balling their fist, if they're doing this, if they're doing this number, and they're like, and they're coming at you like, oh, okay, then, okay, I see where you're going with this. Boom, bam, bing. I will. Thank you, Kimon. I appreciate you guys. Much love, you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining me on my Rucking Live today. I appreciate it. I had fun talking to you guys. My wife even joined. That was great. For a couple minutes. That's a rare, I'm talking about, that is a rare visit. Much love to you guys. Peace out. Stay up. Keep your head on the swivel and stay frosty, people. All right. Peace.